Good evening, everyone at Arkansas Weather Watchers. This is Cameron back here again, and I am here to go over the potential of snowfall as we get towards midweek, and I'm also going to talk to you guys about um, as we close out January and into early February here. I'm going to go over temperatures a little bit, but I'm really going to make this vlog hint on the potential of snowfall as we get towards Wednesday here, guys. But first of all, like I start off with all my blogs, I always talk about the 6 to 10 day outlook, and I also talk about the 8 to 14 day outlook to give you guys a perspective of what we're thinking is going to happen as we get towards later in the month and as we open February here. And the Climate Prediction Center wants to go ahead and put for the central and eastern half of the United States below normal, which would favor several Arctic outbreaks happening across the eastern half of the United States here. What's going on here, and like I've been saying before, is you've got ridging developing across the western half of the United States, and as long as you have ridging out here, that is going to continuously send cold air shots down into the mainland of the United States, preferably east of the Rockies. Okay, so as long as you have ridging out here, and a normal way to figure out if you have ridging out here is normally they go with above normal temperatures, which represents ridging out here, and you really want to look for it out here in Alaska, because if they're below normal, we're above normal. But if they're above normal, we're below normal here. So with high pressure building into Alaska, that dislodges the cold air in the Arctic, sends it down into Canada, and sends it down into the United States, and that will lead to well below normal temperatures here in the natural state here. And there's also been some hints in the long range guidance that the polar vortex pays us a visit at the end of the month, and if it does, it could be some of the coldest air that we have seen in quite a while, guys. And I'm not ready to really jump on that too much. I would like for it to become a little closer in time, but I have been looking at some long range guidance that want to throw that at us. And I tell you, if that were to happen, it will get cold. I'm talking about highs 20s, overnight lows in the single digits type cold. But like I said before, I would like for it to come a little closer in time. Most of the guys that has been saying that has been long range. That's 15, 16 days out, and that's uncharted territory whenever you're looking at model data. So I would like for it to at least get to the 10-day period before I really start to hone on and start jumping onto it. But over the next 6 to even 14 days, 8 to 14 day outlook is the same here. And I'm going to go over precipitation just a little bit, but it's just the same story over the central and eastern half of the United States, below normal. But the ridging does try to limit itself out here out west towards this period, but we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. And around this time frame, the January 28th to February 3rd time frame, is where guidance has been wanting to bring that polar vortex down around that time frame. But like I said before, I'd like for it to become a little more in range before I go out and pinpoint of what could happen here. But as far as precipitation, the 8 to 14 day outlook and the 6 to 10 day outlook both have slightly below normal precipitation here in the natural state. That does not mean that we won't see an event, but it just means that for this time of the year, we will be below normal in terms of the precipitation that we would normally see in this time of January. Okay, so we could still get an event out of this, but once we get past Wednesday, I'm going to be mainly looking for these northwest flow type clipper systems that bring some snow showers here and there to the natural state as there's another reinforcing shot of cold air here. So I'm gonna go ahead and go over the GFS with you guys here, and I'm gonna step it back with this, and we are less than 84 hours away from this event. So model guidance is becoming a little more confident in terms of what's going to be happening as we get towards Wednesday here. And what the GFS wants to do, and the GFS has been really consistent with bringing the potential snowfall, especially for the southern and eastern half of Arkansas. And you can see it clearly on here around around midnight, Tuesday night and Wednesday, as that colder air starts to filter down into the moisture. You start seeing that transition to freezing rain, sleet, and snow across northwest Arkansas. Then around 6 a.m. Wednesday morning, you start seeing that snow line make it down to central Arkansas, where you could see some light snow down from the Little Rock area down to Texarkana up to Jonesboro. And then as the cold air really starts to catch up with the moisture, because what's going to happen, and I'm going to draw this out for you guys real fast here. What's going to end up happening is you're going to have a cold front that's going to be kind of stalled out just for a time being. And as that colder air filters down, it's going to meet up with the moisture, and there will be a low pressure that develops along this front. And this low pressure, this little impulse in the atmosphere is going to be riding along the front really quickly. So that's going to throw back even more moisture behind the cold air here, and that could mean a transition to snowfall for mainly the central and eastern half of Arkansas. But we will have to keep an eye on northwest Arkansas for the starting point. It all depends on how fast the cold air gets here before the moisture leaves for northwest Arkansas. But I'm mainly worried about from the Little Rock area down to Texarkana points east. So that's including the El Dorado area, the Gillette area, Lake Village, Helena, West Helena, up to Jonesboro type area versus northwest Arkansas here, because I believe the dry air is going to be trying to punch in really fast. But with the impulse in the atmosphere, that make direct even more moisture into northwest Arkansas. So northwest Arkansas right now, like we had highlighted in our map, is possible. Don't get me wrong. It's a very possible idea that you could see some winter precipitation in northwest Arkansas, but at this time, my greatest area of seeing winter precipitation is going to be central, eastern, and down to southern Arkansas here with this event. So that's the GFS's perspective. It gets it out of here as we get towards Wednesday evening and then Wednesday night, gets the system out, and that's saying we wake up Thursday morning pretty cold across the natural state. All right, so here's the FV3's version, the FV3 GFS, which is the GFS's counterpart in some ways. This is what the GFS is going to be when it finally upgrades, hopefully at some point this year. I'm going to go to precipitation real fast and change that out. But it's relatively the same idea about it, that it has the ranging over the snow across most of central, eastern, and the southern half of Arkansas here. But it does include northwest Arkansas for a brief period here. And I'm gonna go ahead and let this zoom out. And like I said before, it brings it transitions this a little faster than the other GFS does it. This is around 6 a.m. Wednesday morning. Has transition line from Texarkana to Little Rock. A little bit more moisture thrown into play, and it really expands that snow area Wednesday afternoon, which would include most of central, eastern, and southern half of Arkansas, and tries to make a mini winter storm out of this. I don't think a winter storm is going to happen given the speed of this system, but like I said before, we thought the same thing about yesterday, and yesterday put down a good bit of snow. So we just have to watch it. Like I said before, these types of systems mainly get underplayed in terms of moisture. But that's something that we'll just have to keep an eye on with here. And I'm going to go ahead and show you the accumulation snowfall with the FV3, because the FV3 up until now has had a lot of snow for the southern and eastern half of Arkansas. But I think they have trended downwards with its 18Z run. Now this right here, this is what I would normally buy. Just 3-inch snowfall accumulation from southern Arkansas up to northeast Arkansas. I would buy that. I think it's a little overdone with the 7 and 8 snowfall totals in this area, but I would buy a general 1 to 3 in southern eastern and northeast Arkansas as we get towards Wednesday here. Now here's the CMC. The CMC is kind of the wild card in this situation here, because what the CMC does, and it's kind of funny a little bit, it wants to make basically an ice storm for northwest Arkansas here. It develops a low pressure along the Gulf of Mexico. If this were to happen, this would cancel out southern and eastern Arkansas, because the cold air will get hung up in northwest Arkansas, and you will be dealing with ice and snow up there while we would be dealing with rain down here. So it's kind of the wild card situation, and this is the 12Z's run, by the way. The system has been sampled as of 6 p.m. today, so it's just a wait and see deal. But it's kind of the wild card situation with this. But I honestly think, especially with the speed of this system, I think the cold air will get here a little faster than what the CMC is wanting to put out, and the CMC really didn't do so well with yesterday's system. So I'm kind of back and forth with that, and this is the only model that supports a Northwest Arkansas ice storm event. And I think it's a little overdone in terms of moisture, in terms of slowing of the cold air, and all that sort of thing. So the CMC right now, although it's a possible idea, it's kind of the outlier idea with bringing a good bit of ice to Northwest Arkansas down to Western Arkansas, while Central, Southern, and Eastern half is stuck with rain until this system pulls out, and maybe a transition at the last second before getting out of here. And this is post zero Z, excuse me, not post. This is pre zero Z run Canadian model, so that's kind of working in my favor a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and step you guys out to next weekend here. The Canadian model took it away. All right, had a winter storm for the state, but it took it away. But this is what I'm talking about here. You could clearly see this with the Canadian model, that you're starting to see these little clippers that'll come down every once in a while with this flow in the atmosphere, and they'll just drop a couple of snowflakes here and there, nothing major with these systems. And like I said, these little clippers that'll come down from Canada down into the Midwest and in over our heads here in Arkansas, and normally with temperatures being as cold as they are, and you can clearly tell with the 540 line not even getting out of the state. That's how cold it is. But with that cold air being like that, and the flow in the atmosphere, because there's the flow in the atmosphere going on, you're getting these little systems that are coming down, and they are producing the potential of some light snow, nothing major, but you've got high pressure dominating across the southwestern half of the United States here. And with that flow in the atmosphere, you've got northwest flow flowing over our heads, so that's going to keep us nice and cold as we get towards the end of the month and into the beginning of February here. So that's the flow in the atmosphere, and it's just going to be bringing down cold shots here and there, and it's also going to be bringing down some little clipper systems that'll ride down these. That'll ride down with the flow in the atmosphere and bring in maybe a couple of potentials of light snow, but the greater area for seeing the potential light snow would be North Arkansas with the northwest flow, but I wouldn't rule it out for the rest of the state here. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the NAM model before I hop off of here. The Zero Z NAM model, this is the latest run of the NAM model. The NAM model has been relatively dry for the natural state, but it has came further west with a Zero Z run than it has been, because earlier, it didn't have a thing. It didn't have any winter precipitation at all for anybody. It has gone from no winter precipitation to winter precipitation here, now winter precipitation here. And before too long, it may be trying to bring it back into the state here. So, I kind of, like I said before, I kind of ignore the NAM model up until the 60-hour time frame, because past 60 hours, it does not do well with the system at all. So that is the latest for the blog. Like I said before, our general idea is going to be from Central Arkansas to Southern Arkansas to Eastern Arkansas for now. Not going to discount Northwest Arkansas for the potential winter precipitation. Accumulations at this time, as stated before, with a wet ground and temperatures near freezing, that's going to kind of help back the accumulations from being too out of control, but I wouldn't rule out a general 1 to 3 inch snowfall for central, southern, and eastern half of Arkansas here. So, like I said before, we're still gonna keep an eye on it. This looks to be around Wednesday morning towards the lunch hour, and then getting it out of here by Wednesday evening and a Wednesday night here. So you guys take care. Y'all have a great rest of your Sunday night, and I will probably more likely be back with another blog tomorrow night going over the potential winter precipitation as we get towards Wednesday. All right, so y'all take care, and thank you for tuning into this video.